Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Stupendous Wave, and as always, when another TV spot for a franchise I discuss comes out, I always do a breakdown/review. I am getting on this one pretty quickly right now, which is why it's coming out so late for those of you who are watching it late. I was actually just about to go to bed. So, a new trailer or TV spot just broke. It's really a minute long, and as always, like I said, I am here to do a breakdown. So let's go ahead and begin. And I just would like to remind you that there will be videos tomorrow along with this. This is just kind of an add-on. I do have 2 videos planned to come out tomorrow as well, so lucky for you guys. So let's go ahead and begin. As always, we start off by talking about the new audio in the trailer before we actually go into the visuals. So to start off, it just starts off with Finn and Ray asks Finn, or says, "I don't know your name," and Finn says, "Finn, what's yours?" and she says, "I'm Ray." So there we go. Not really a whole lot to add there, but it's still interesting, and it's great to see some dialogue, especially between our 2 main leads. And the other new piece of audio is with Kylo Ren in the background, and he says, "I will show them the dark side," which really confirms what we already knew, that Kylo Ren is a dark side user, and that is the side that he affiliates with. It's great to hear some more dialogue from him, and really the other new dialogue in the trailer is Han Solo handing Rey a blaster and saying, "You might need this." But other than that, these are the 3 new pieces of dialogue in the trailer, and I really like them, especially Kylo Ren's, and he, as I said, confirms that he is a dark side user, and that is the side that he affiliates with. He might not quite be a Sith yet, but like you've probably heard in my other videos, I do assume that that is his ultimate goal. So really great, and now let's go ahead and move on to the visuals of the trailer. So the first new thing that we get to see is Finn, and it looks like he's just maneuvering around the Kloss in this little Jakku city thing that we keep on seeing. Again, Jakku being a desert planet, what cities they do have are probably going to be very, very small and likely look like this. This is really the only real civilization that we've seen on Jakku, so I'm just going to be continuing to call it a city, even though we don't really know exactly what it is. But it's a small area where we know that people and aliens, life forms, basically come together, whether it be a marketplace or something like that, a place where people live. We're not really sure. It's like a town area. But we do see Finn here, and this might be where he actually sees Rey for the first time, and he might recognize her from the past of him being a stormtrooper and coming down on Jakku. But really, all we see here is Finn moving throughout this town or city on Jakku. The next new little shot that we get to see is we get to see Rey and Finn running through the city again, and in the background above them we see a TIE fighter closing in on them, and we know that there are multiple TIE fighters in the air circling them, and this TIE fighter actually fires down upon them in the next few shots, and it sends them flying. Now, apparently this is linked with scenes that we've seen earlier of Finn being on the ground, kind of recovering himself, and Rey giving him a hand up. And initially watching the trailer, I thought that BB-8 just got blown away, but we know from other trailers and other media such as trailers that BB-8 actually does not get blown up in this explosion. But I would like to say that that is one durable droid, and like I said, the TIE fighters fire on them. They miss, but just barely, and they end up flying, at which point Rey helps Finn up, and she says, "Follow me," and I assume that they go and they still try to outmaneuver these TIE fighters, which we do know they are successful at eventually and are able to escape. The next really new-ish thing that we get to see is a shot of Kylo Ren, but the significance of it is that it's a little bit extended. In the previous trailers, we actually only get to see Kylo Ren swinging down on something. Now we actually get to go back to a little bit and see him initially right before he swings down on something, and we get to see that whole movement with the crossguard lightsaber. So it's very, very cool. Now, I'm not sure if his lightsaber is activated before he decides to swing down on this thing, but the trailer, this TV spot, implies that he activates it and then swings down on it. So I just think that that's a very, very interesting thing. It could be something that they just added in with the lightsaber activating sound effect for this specific TV spot, but the TV spot implies that he activates it very quickly and then swings down on it. So I'm not exactly sure who he's swinging down on, but it's kind of implied that he's speaking to someone. We see a stormtrooper in the background, and that what this person says to him angers him, and it drives him to the point to quickly activate his lightsaber and swing down on them, of course cutting them down. But that's just kind of what I've kind of grasped from the scene. It's kind of what it implies with the sound of the lightsaber activating, although we don't really get to see it activating. That's kind of what I've deduced from this, although it could be incorrect. The lightsaber could have already been activated, but it's always great to see a little bit more of our favorite new Knight of Ren. The next things we get to see are very, very cool, or the next new things that we get to see. It's actually the TIE Fighter disconnecting from its cable on the Star Destroyer, and we know at this point that it is most likely Finn for sure in the TIE Fighter, and that Poe Dameron may be in the TIE Fighter as well, with Finn seeing the terrible things that Kylo Ren and the rest of the First Order do down on Jakku. He decides to defect and steal a TIE Fighter and go down back to Jakku, although we're not sure if that was his original destination or the one that he really wanted to go to. That's where he ended up after being shot down by another First Order ship that we haven't seen yet, possibly the Star Destroyer or another TIE Fighter. All we know at this point is that it gets shot down. But here we get to see it disconnecting from its cable and flying out, like I said, with Finn and Poe Dameron most likely in it. And it's really, really cool. We get to see really the inside of a First Order ship, not for the first time, but we get to see a little bit more of the mechanics of it. This scene is, of course, linked with the scenes that we got to see in the very first trailer of the TIE Fighter firing on stormtroopers and other TIE Fighters in the vicinity in the Star Destroyer. But it's just a little bit elongated, and we actually get to see it exit the hangar, which is really, really cool. And like I said, this scene is most likely a lot longer than this TV spot suggests. The TV spot really just suggests that the TIE Fighter breaks free and then flies right out of the Star Destroyer, but that's really not what happens. We know that it's met with some conflict, and that the TIE Fighter actually ends up having to blast its way out of there a little bit, as we saw in the first trailer. So really interesting. Really excited to see the full sequence when the movie eventually comes out in December. The next new little snippet that we get to see is of Han Solo handing Rey a blaster, of course with the audio referenced earlier, and it's really cool. We get to see Rey, I assume, fire the same blaster later on, and in the other TV spots where she fires it at Kylo Ren, which we saw a few TV spots ago, and he ends up blocking it with his lightsaber, and then, as we know, or as far as we know, capturing her. But they still appear to be on this planet where the Resistance is. Not exactly sure which planet it is so far. I don't believe it's been confirmed, but it's nice to see this relationship of what potentially could be an uncle and a niece, or even a father and daughter here with Rey and Han Solo. Rey possibly being the daughter of Han Solo or the daughter of Luke, either one possible or even likely at this point. Very cool to see these two characters interacting together on screen. We then get to see Rey walking down what looks to be a stairway with BB-8 in the background, and she looks really perplexed, like she's seeing someone that she hasn't seen in a very long time. And this is linked directly with the next shot, which is a behind shot of Queen Leia, and to the left we see Han Solo, and then to the right you can see C-3PO with his new red arm. Now what I'm trying to deduce is this Rey seeing her mother for the first time in a very long time, or is she looking at something else? I'm not exactly sure at this point in time, but it does appear that these two scenes are connected, although her walking down the stairwell could be her walking down the stairwell in Maz Kanata's castle looking at something else, but I assume that it is linked with the Resistance scene, and of course maybe she's just perplexed by all of these Resistance members together, and she didn't really know that there were this many people fighting against the First Order. It could mean a plethora of things at this point, but that's the beauty of these TV spots and these trailers. They're not giving us everything, they're just giving us little hints. Let's go ahead and move on. Now the next few shots are very, very amazing, and we actually get to see Finn with the original blue lightsaber swiping down, or bringing it down, on a stormtrooper who looks to have some electrical type weapon, or an electrical type staff, which we see in the trailer is capable of combating and blocking a lightsaber strike, which is very, very interesting. But it's cool to see that Finn is actually utilizing the lightsaber before the Starkiller base duel with Kylo Ren, and it's really, really cool. I'm interested to see where exactly he gets it and who gives it to him, with it possibly being Rey who gets it initially and then she gives it to Finn to use, or if he gets it through other means. It's still cool to see that he's utilizing it here, which is what we have all determined at this point not to be the finale of the film, with the finale actually being on the Starkiller base, or the snowy-like planet with Kylo Ren and his duel with Kylo Ren. But it's cool to see him use it here. The very next shot is of Han Solo and Chewbacca maneuvering through the rubble and firing on First Order soldiers, which is really great. Then we actually know, although it's not seen in this trailer in sequence with these events, but that the X-Wings actually come, which are the cavalry. So basically what the events, or the sequence of events that happens, is they go to this planet, Han on the Millennium Falcon, and Rey, Finn, Chewbacca, all of them, and they end up getting captured on this planet, which we know that the Resistance is on. And then the Resistance sends out a whole platoon or squadron of X-Wings, and they interact and they engage with the First Order, and they have this big old battle there, which allows, as we see here, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Rey, BB-8, and Finn to all escape this and eventually join up with the Resistance and Queen Leia. So that's kind of the sequence events that I've kind of set together in my mind. But that's basically it for the TV spot. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we're having more of these TV spots. Definitely the highlight for me would be the extended TIE Fighter leaving the Star Destroyer base, or gate is a better word for it, the Star Destroyer bait, or the hangar bay, and definitely seeing Finn swinging the lightsaber at the Stormtrooper with the electrical little staff that he has, which is able to block it. Definitely highlights of it. Overall, great TV spot. Love the new Kylo Ren audio that we get to hear, and overall can't wait for episode, or TV spot 6, I should say, not episode 6. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this breakdown/review, and have a great day.